Welcome to another episode of Moments with Mantsoe. Thank you so much for the love. I saw all the comments and subscriptions from episode 1, so please continue to do that. Ask your friends to ask their friends to subscribe. It's Moments with Mantsoe, to leave your comments, tell us what you think, who you want to have on the show, because this is for you. And my guest today is someone that I think is absolutely amazing at what they do. And there's only so much we've seen from her, but I believe there's going to be a lot more that we see from them. How are you doing?
Yes, from them, they. Thank you for respecting the pronouns. Oh my gosh, this is my first podcast. I knew I wanted it to be perfect.
Can I tell you?
I just had to wait.
As soon as I see from her, I was like, no, that's not the pronoun. I need to get it right. How are you doing, my love?
I'm fantastic. We are great. And we are glad that you're having us on your show.
Galaletsang, first podcast.
Yes.
And we've obviously all seen you on television. That's how we got to know you. But let's talk Galaletsang growing up in the Northwest. What kind of child were you? The childhood that you had?
Okay. So, you know, I've had my life in stages, right?
Oh, come on.
I promise you.
I did have my life in stages with 10,000 people watching.
Literally. Now it's 5 million. But hey, excluding the other parts of Africa, just South Africa.
Yes.
Yeah, the other 38 countries, they don't count.
Just to make it clear.
Just to, I've had different stages of my life whereby it began as Precious.
Yeah.
Then it's Galaletsang and now it's Gina. But before Precious, there was Nyana that no one knows about. You know, that home name.
Tell me about Nyana.
Nyana ke ngwanyana ko ntlung ke ngwanyana. That's why Nyana ke ngwanyana. So Galaletsang was too long. I hadn't cemented my voice in being Precious because I didn't decide what name I wanted to use. My mom left me with my grandmother. So my aunt basically raised me with my gran, and she just called me Nyana, Nekli Nyana Hai. And she couldn't say Wanyana, so it was just Nyana, and I was Nyana probably till today. In her eyes. So that's my most consistent name is Nyana.
Nyana, growing up in the Northwest with your gran, with your aunt, how was your childhood? How was it like?
Dry. I promise you, and I'm not kidding, dry.
Yeah.
And by dry, I'm speaking of the temperature, I'm speaking of the soil, I'm speaking of the environment, I'm speaking of the rigor for life, just the desire for things. It's a very dry place. The Northwest is very dry. It's humid. It's very hot. It's very lush. There's a lot of plants, but not like lush green, like brown, like safari. So very, very dry. But dry also left room for realizing that there's hydration man somewhere. I can't be like this because most of the homes around me actually didn't even have clean drinking water. And contrary to popular belief, our home, I think, was one of the houses, the first houses to ever have a tap. And it was very dry. Because I remember most of my friends, like every time I came back home from school, they'd be coming home with a wheelbarrow carrying water home. So my childhood was very different because my grandmother was in the education sector, and she made sure that I traveled about 40 to 60 kilometers to learn English, while the other kids went to school in the neighborhood. And the neighborhood meant Libulela Spedi or Setswana first language. So nane gets amaya, and then heki buwa bona ba pusha metsi. So it was very dry. Yeah.
Was the leaving part, because I mean, when you leave the dry area to go hydrate, where you go to school, where you see other kids from other backgrounds, did that have an influence on where you saw yourself moving forward?
I mean, I was privileged enough to be exposed to a different world from a young age, even though I came from what people would think is below the middle class. I wouldn't consider myself poor. I've always been rich. You know, my grandmother always provided for us. My grandfather, and we'd break it in half. To me, my family will get to spirituality because I'm a lot of things, but hence they and them and theirs. Is that I try to accommodate all of them that have guided me to become the woman I am today. So, it did influence where I wanted to go, but it wasn't much about the leaving as much as it was about living there. Because I could always leave, but living there and barefoot.
Wait, do you still have those friends? Like when you go back home, because I know that like every time I go home, right, and home is not far away in a village somewhere. It's just in Soweto where I grew up.
Yeah.
But I know when I go home, I like call up my girls and my guys and my gays, everyone. To say, I'm on my way to Naledi. Can we hang out? Can we go somewhere?
What's popping?
Can
we chill? Yeah.
Do you have people that when you go back to the Northwest that you call up and you're like, let's hang out? And not hang out li beauty, but hang out li nyana.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Is that, and I feel like a lot of South Africa goes through this, where audience members are not ready to receive change.
Yeah.
And they hang on to what they see now as like the only truth that they know.
Yeah.
And for me personally, growth has allowed me to realize that there's no such thing as truth, only perspective. So for them, it's like I grew out of Nyana and now I'm just beauty. So they don't remember that person. So unfortunately not. I don't have people to call when I go back home to be like, yo, let's go grab us, a drink. Or no. I just have my family. Also, your grandmama gonna tell you that they're bewitching you.
Come on. Too much, man.
Yes.
How do you your life is different now.
Yo. I'm once upon a time, but it's okay. Yeah, I don't have them. But I do have people that when I see, they definitely contributed to where I am today. In the neighborhood, and I'm grateful for them, whether it's the lady next door or the lady from the church or the lady at the tuck shop that's still there after 29 years and it's like, yo, for real? And she'll be like, I always knew. And I'm like, you're lying, but you're telling the truth.
Do you have people that always knew? Because I believe that, and I said this when I was speaking to Zanele, that there's always either a teacher or a community member or someone that will pick up that you're different from other kids, specifically if you're a creative child, right? Or they feel like you've got a talent that maybe we're not realizing it right now here, but you've got something that sets you apart from the other kids. Do you remember a teacher or someone in your community that was just like, something about you is different from the other kids?
I remember all of them. Okay, firstly, for my academic background, my parents, I have a lot of trauma. Like, I think people know. Dine trauma. You'll see the personalities as they come and go. But I went to boarding school at the age of 3.
What?
So my mama decided, I ain't doing this parenting stuff. Y'all keep her. She gonna be y'all's problem. What? I promise you. And I went to a school called Little Sadie, and I remember teacher Merlin at the age of 3. And then in my pre-preparatory, I don't remember positive reinforcement in my life, so I blocked that out. In my primary years, I remember Miss Bailey. Miss Bailey, actually, she influenced a lot of my love for literature. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I'm a huge English literature fan. So Emily Bronte, Charlotte Bronte
sisters.
Right? Wuthering Heights, Jane Eyre, that's definitely my stuff. Like, tragedy is my thing. It's like, if somebody dying, call
You're
me.
in there.
I'm there.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's the one thing that's promised to us.
So you've got those teachers, you said Osoko's Paza, who'd be like, you were always that kid.
100%. So Miss Bailey would be my primary school influence. My high school influence would be Miss Shami Lilram. She was hectic. Like, if anything, like if there's tough love, like it's her. She was always like, I'm not giving you the distinction. You have to get it from an external moderator. I remember for my prelims, I got 50%. And she said, if it's really meant to be yours, in finals, you get 100.
This was for English?
For drama, Chumi.
Oh.
So Mrs. Bailey, definitely English. Miss Shami Lilram was definitely drama. And in varsity, I think that you're wise enough to not make your teachers your heroes because you realize that they're human and they're going to disappoint you. So in varsity, I started working and I went to VIS and I went to AFDA, but the people that were teaching me are people that I've worked with. So now it's like, I can't really see you as my hero because we're drinking tequila. I know your real truth.
Yeah. I always say that. I always say that one of my closest friends is a teacher, right? And every time we're out, I'm like, I can't believe my teachers used to do this. Like, you're a teacher, dog. Why are you out having drinks?
I mean, teachers are allowed to have drinks.
Yeah.
If
but
not, then they'd like bang
human.
our heads and our kids' heads in the wall, no?
That's true.
Or they'd probably just have like a meltdown and it'd be like an episode.
But I think it's because we don't humanize teachers. Yeah. When we're young, they really are heroes. These are people that you spend a lot more time with than our own family. And you see them as this image of perfection.
100%.
And you don't see them as human that after a long day at school on a Friday, they're going to go out with their friends and have drinks.
That's very true. A lot of service providers.
Yeah,
teachers, doctors. We don't see them, like drinking, or because then you're thinking, you're like, hey, is this how you're going to operate on me? Is this how you're treating my kids? Or is this how you're in the gig sleeping instead of, guarding the G4S? But These people are human, you know. They also have stress. They also have debit orders. They also have heartbreak. They're also going through load shedding. They're also overworked.
And underpaid.
And therapy is expensive. So you're going to keep at that 1.5. You're going to go to...
weekly.
ICAS. Or... utlonta fela klipa unta dikhoto tse 4 and there's your therapy. You know, so it's different for everybody, but for me, I had those teachers and then they frivoled away. Yeah, so now they just like people that I can speak to in passing. Yeah, to like, you know, my bag of tricks to be like, okay, what do I need? Who do I talk to when I can't solve certain things? I'll call or I'll email or
You mentioned spirituality and how your family's very spiritual.
Yes.
I think when I met you a couple of years ago, you've always led with how spiritual you are. Tell me about growing up in a ZCC home, but also carving your own way in how you see spirituality and practice spirituality.
So my grandmother is Lutheran. She's actually like a high priest somewhere up there. Like so my grandfather has a learning disability, and he's actually turning 71. And
your grandfather could be my grandmother's child.
Right? I love that.
My grandmother's 93.
Oh my gosh, beautiful. That's blessings. You know that genetically you must receive and actually be like, I'm going to reach there.
I will reach there.
It is in your family. You know, and that's your scribe.
Yeah,
that's
my
your
family grows really old.
Stunning.
Yes. So your
I'm
grandfather...
not sure if pilling is the goal, but let's keep going.
It better be the goal. Yeah.
I have an existential crisis because of spirituality, actually.
Really?
Yes. So the problem with growing up in a home where my grandmother was Lutheran and my grandfather was from ZCT, the Zion Christian Church. So he's the most consistent person, him and my grandmother, when it comes to practicing Christianity. Both from different derivatives, denominations, because the practices are different. Ko Lutere, Luko Sione. We know Luko Sione, they believe in the convent being through salt, tea, going to the mountains and praying, and also, you know, the Lekhanyizi, you know.
Lekhanyizi wa Mantsoe.
Yeah, that's the drip, you know. It's not a roll you on the wall, it's Lekhanyizi, you know. It's not a great, that's the plaque.
Yes.
That's their plaque, you know. He got their back, you know. And in Lutere, they have the cross.
You're so crazy.
I know, I'm crazy. But I feel like if we explain religion like this, it would be easier for kids to grasp it. And it would be, because for me, I was indoctrinated thinking that religion is so serious. It's this thing that you must like... It has so many rules. If you don't do this, you're not going to be forgiven. You're going to hell. Only to figure out the older I became that this is just a lifestyle. That you continuously go back to practice day in, day out. You know, whether it's forgiveness, fruits of the spirit, joy, because these are not emotions that you feel every day. But through the indoctrination, what they don't tell you is that it's a journey. You know,
there's days where you don't feel that.
There's days where I don't want to talk to Jesus. There's days where I feel like Badimbago Haiban traits where I'm like, y'all need to do something.
You're just like, put this righteousness journey on the side.
You know, so I grew up Christian, very much so. When I was an infant. Ka 16. Honabe ano ke patela lekgetho. Ke member.
Console adult.
Sekile adult. Actually, I went home during Easter. It's very beautiful, but I don't think I belong to one church because I don't think that God belongs to one religion. Okay. So for me personally, growing with all these religions and spiritual practices, I've come to realize that I have a God of my understanding, the God of my peace, the God that makes me wake up in the morning, because part of identity and is having religion guide us with regards to giving us answers. Where do I come from? Where am I going? Who am I?
And what does all of this mean?
What does all of this mean? Hence my existential crisis.
I was about to say, hence you have existential issues.
I got
you
questions.
Need to tell me about that.
I got questions for God, yo.
Really?
Y'all don't got questions for, like if he said now it's time, it's chai, I'm the front one in the line. I ain't saying I'm killing myself, but I'm ready.
Okay.
Yeah, because the inevitable truth is that we're always waiting for something, you know. And one of my favorite books is Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett. And existentialism has been a subject close to my heart, with Jean-Paul Sartre being one of the great philosophers that I know that practiced existentialism, where what are we waiting for? Because whether we like it or not, the train will come, the Messiah will leave, and then death is the only thing left.
I wonder how your boyfriend feels about this because he's been in the room. Do
Do
you have this conversation with him?
I have a lot of them. The other day we were talking and he said to me, I can't believe that this is you every day, but that you still wake up and you still do something about it. I'm like, because I'm purpose driven. Because I'm purpose driven. So when you have no purpose, distractions look like opportunities. So yeah. So a lot of times that's the one thing I pray for is discernment. Because if I prayed for money and I prayed for an actual attainment or a milestone, once I reach there, then what? Then I'm going to be suicidal again.
Do you know, I was talking to someone and I was like, it's so, I struggle with grasping the idea of death, right?
Why?
But I don't know. I think the fact that you were here and then you're not anymore for me. And I don't think I had an idea of how life works, but I think loss just doesn't make sense to me. But I always try to remind myself that by virtue of living, that means you're going to die, right? And then I feel like I've got times where I'm really scared of how I'm going to die or ceasing to exist. That for me, I don't want to die, dog.
Is it how you're going to die or is it when you're going to die?
It's how, it's when, but it's who I leave behind.
That's a powerful one.
I almost feel like I'd rather people leave me, even though I struggle with grasping loss, than I leave them. You know what
Mantsoe has God complex. She'd rather save the rest of us.
I'm just like, everyone leave me here because
Because you're used to being left.
I think of my,
There you go.
Right?
Because you're used to being left. So you wouldn't know how it feels to be missed.
That is so hectic.
No, but genuinely, think about it.
Wow.
Yeah, so we...
It's almost like I know that I'll survive the loss.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know if other people can survive losing me.
Yeah, because you take care of a lot of people. And you're a breadwinner. And you are a mom to your brother. And, I mean, for all the years that I've known you, I pride myself in knowing that you are very, very 100% committed to the character that you're going to play on earth.
Yeah.
And that person is a reliable person. That person is somebody that is consistent. So once you leave, what happens to everybody else? Who are they going to depend on?
Do you think the role I play influences how I see life?
Yes.
That my loss would be greater to other people than their loss.
It's a God complex also. It's a God complex. And it's wrong to me because really ego. Le nna ke ne le yona hona no re henkashwa. Ba ilo sokola ola libile o ja di
Ba ipolaya. Bana ba ya sekolong yang.
Wena o mongwe o ja nyaope.
Ayo, nka bua.
Are you gonna like drop something in the kitchen? What you gonna do? Flip the car? How you gonna make him listen? There's nothing you can do. Who made you listen? Who taught you?
I'm gonna be a problematic ancestor because I'm just gonna be like, hey, don't do that.
I think you're gonna be a great ancestor. I think you're gonna be like one of those guardian angels ancestors. I think you're gonna be like somebody that religiously they'll light a candle for because you'll be missed that much. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not dying. Let's just
no, but I'd love to be that. I'd love for people to not be sad when they think about the fact that I'm gone. I'd like for them because to think that I'm an extension of who they are. You know, that they would also be like, oh my gosh, all the values she had, she left in me. So when they do little things and they catch themselves speaking like me or laughing like me, they'll laugh and be like, she's
and
still
embrace
here.
that.
Yes, because it's not immortality that we are chasing, but the fact that you live forever through the people that come after you. That's what lineage is.
What do you want people to remember when you're not here?
What do
What to take from you having been here?
Collective consciousness. Collective consciousness that we are the roots underneath the trees that feed one another. We are not the branches of the bark. We are when no one is watching. So in the darkness, we are collective consciousness. So let us become.
How can you feel like?
Sure, me can need it. And then people have understand.
I think another thing that people are not really aware of, and I think if they follow you on Instagram, they'll be aware of this, is that you're a yogi.
Yes.
How did you get into that? Because there's a lot of, I think, even though we've mentioned the spirituality of your family, right?
Yeah.
That's why it was very important for me to talk about how you carved what spirituality means to you.
100%.
And what we know as people that are close to you, people that see your social media, what it looks like. It wouldn't be you found your way. And yoga being one of the ways that you center yourself and connect with your soul and your spirit.
Chumi, I shocked my mother. Hey, dear black child. I rocked the living lights out of her. I think I was 16 or something.
When you started yoga?
Yes. Chumi, I was in the lounge. I put down the carpet and I just started breaking my body and dislocating things and breathing. And she was like, no. And then I was doing the hums and the ha's. And I have this aunt, her name is Africa. So she practices yoga too. And her and I, we're also very close with my other aunt, Bridget too, but she doesn't practice yoga. But all of them, banally spiritual something. So, ba go Christianity, but not Africa. Let me go speak to Africa and ask her actually what's going on. What do the Eastern people say about consciousness? How can I center myself when prayer isn't working? And she was like, breath. So as a child, I had a problem with my throat chakra. I never spoke of my problems and I couldn't cry. So I remember hitting 15 minutes of meditation and I broke down, like solid. And I didn't know what was happening with my body. And it's because I never sat in stillness for 15 minutes. So for the first time, all the trauma that was in my body was released that I didn't know existed, because eye-hand coordination isn't always in power. So there's things that my body went through that my mind didn't register. We just shelved it and put it in the encyclopedia. And that day when I had time to process it, my body was like, remember when your brother died, you didn't cry? Remember when your father died, you didn't deal? Remember during your first breakup, you actually like, it's fine, my father left anyways. So it was in that moment where I was like, oh, this breathing thing is the thing. Then curiosity killed the cat.
Because you said feather breathing.
Go deeper, man of God.
Feather breathing.
Tell me, I lucid dream, I astral project, but I'm like, no, guys, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. So I was just breathing and exploring different ways to tap into my consciousness and trying to see where can I go? What other dimensions are there? And I know I'll sound crazy. It's fine if it's not your cup of tea. Just swipe,
No, don't swipe. Just take the cup of tea and put it to the side.
Or comment. You can comment. We can have a conversation. You know? We can have a conversation because I can be someone's shot of tequila. That's cool.
Yeah, I love a shot of tequila.
Right? Yeah. But it's the wake up call. Green pill, red pill. Or the blue pill. Yoga for me, it's still a journey. I've been thinking about doing my teacher training because I've been doing this for like 10 years now, but I'm afraid.
Why?
Because my mom's a teacher and I wanted to be a teacher. But my mom taught other kids and she forgot to teach me and I raised myself. So what's going to happen to me once I teach? I'm going to be everything that I never said I wanted to be. So that's my psychology and my traumas that I'm dealing with right now is that. Do
you think you walking away from everything that resembles or looks like what your mom is?
That's a good question.
Because the reality of being born of people is that there's a lot of who they are that you take.
100%. I think there's parts of my mother that I absolutely resent, and there are portions of her that I'm in love with. And the older I become, the more I detach her, Mantsoe Koffman, from being my mother and attach her to being a woman. The decisions she made, the sacrifices she had to make to raise me. I'm like, okay, you know what? That's shout out to you, Sometimes I'm like, yo, dude, you could have done better. Like my daddy could have been Solkezna or something.
And I think because we're very hard on our parents because they are your parents and you expect so much from them. But once you humanize them and you just see them as people and you see her as a young lady who had you as a young girl, then you really start seeing the mistakes that they made as mistakes. And they're people. And there's nothing you can do to fix them.
Though.
Yeah.
Like this one time she told me my daddy told her to abort me. I said, you can't tell your child that. So hence my existential crisis. It's like, what would have happened if I wasn't here? What would have happened if she drank the pill, if she drank Stamita, if she went to the clinic? What would have happened,
Then do you find yourself questioning things like, maybe she didn't raise me because she did also have questions about having me?
No, my brother and I have a joke, right? About like not wanting to be on earth. And we'll be
You
like,
and your brother are so dark.
I know, right? So he'll be like, yo, dude, remember like when we're in Dad's nutsack chilling? Yeah, after you left, like you left a tag on the wall saying Gina was here. And then like, shit, I saw myself leaving one day down this pipe and I was like, shit, where am I? And it was like this dome and it wasn't the Coca-Cola. But like we have these crazy thoughts and conversations just so also we can deal with it. Because we humanize it. It's not so serious. It's not so, you have to feel guilty about it. It's like, hey, how are you? I'm not okay. Why are you not okay? Because we're here now. Okay, what can we do to make you okay while you're here? Let's deal with that.
Have you had a conversation with your mom?
About what? About me not wanting to be here?
It's just about how you feel about certain decisions that she had and
Yeah.
where you are as a person with her.
I mean, we speak every day. She's having her own human journey.
Yeah.
Where she's dealing with her life and her career path and her own challenges. We speak. I don't attach myself to anyone. I'd like to think that I love my family, but I also know that I'm an island. Like I moved away from everybody to be alone.
Did. You moved very far. We're going to get to that. And you went as far as even getting a farm. You were like, I want to be so far from everyone.
Yeah.
That I'm going to create a world where I exist. And if anyone wants to see me, it's so far out, it has to be intentional.
Yes.
We're going to get to that.
100%.
Let's talk how university was. You went to Wits and then went to AFDA.
Wits was amazing. Silly baggers. Woo! Let me tell y'all.
Yes.
I fumbled that bag. Proudly so. Wits, what was run?
Yeah.
I wasn't going to see the end of it. No. Cheers to that.
Yes.
Yeah. I went to Wits. My mom was like, you can't do drama. So I got full colors, national colors for drama.
Nice.
I've been doing ice theatre since I was 13. So drama runs through my veins. Like I always knew I wanted to do this. I have no plan B, Jumi. Like I always knew I wanted to act. You know, so I was like, I'm going to Wits, I'm going to go study acting. My mom's like, hell no. To the no, hell no. So she said to me, you got to do something else. Like do a BA. Now I must do a BA in what? You must go do my anthropology, human rights. I'm like, screw that. So like I'm there with her day one. I'm taking anthro. I'm taking things I don't even care about. Day two, when it was me alone, I'm like drama, philosophy, theology, all the deep things that psychology that have nothing to do with what I told my mother I was going to do, which I really thoroughly enjoyed. But eventually I realized it was around June and we were doing practicals that there was nothing Wits could give me.
What do you mean by that?
I come from a home of academics. I'm very theory-based. So Wits is very theory-based. And I was like, okay, I'm doing this. It's nice. But I'm depressed because my mom doesn't know what I'm doing.
Oh, she didn't know when you started.
Since
Wait, when you
anthropology.
eventually started, you never came out and you just started drama without her knowing.
Show me, day one, Nikita anthropology. Day two, I was doing philosophy, theology, psychology, learning about God, drama, things that are forbidden in black households. You must not ask where God comes from here. It's not happening. Philosophy, who's Socrates? They got no. Those people, they are Togoloshis. You mustn't ask them. So it was like all the forbidden things. And I've always been a rebel, you know. So then I decided June, it was my birthday, I'll never forget, that I'm dropping out. But I'm going to go to school every day and drink. I promise you. I was a member of the City Buggers. I was on the council.
You were so serious you were a member.
I even had a bag. I had a bag, a Silly Buggers bag. It was pink. They also had blue ones.
Yes.
And I just decided that the childhood I never had, I was going to have.
Give yourself.
I was going to give myself. But what I didn't know is that I didn't have the finances to give it to
Yes, exactly.
exactly. Woo, that's why I say I fumbled the bag. Yeah. So I grooved. I also started working. When I was at Wits, I had my first acting gig. I was on the road, Bomb Productions. So I had a big head. I thought, hey, sing figure. I don't need school.
I don't even need drama.
I don't need drama.
I'm actually acting.
But also, beyond I don't need drama. At home, they don't know I'm doing drama. So why must I do this anyways? Because if I tell them I'm doing this, they're going to tell me to drop out.
Yes.
Like they did with everything else. So varsity for me was a blur. Wits was a blur. And then end of the year came, my mom asked for the report. I didn't have one. And she said, well, go take care of yourself then. Go get your own money. And I want a degree, 3 years or 4 years, honest. So then I went to AFDA. I applied for a bursary and I got it. And I put myself through school for 4 years and I got an honors degree. I'll never forget, it was January and it was the day that they were closing. My mom was like, are you going to sit at home or are you going to go work at Jet? I got up, went to Gandhi Square, went to AFDA, got off there by the Media Mill, walked, and then registered. I had 10,000 rand registration, I'll never forget. And then
The money you made from the road.
you see? Can you see?
Thank you, Bomb. Here,
Thank you,
AFDA.
Bomb. Okay, let's go. And then I got
Hectic. So you put yourself through school,
yeah.
which then because you didn't want to study what they wanted you to study.
Yeah.
You said, if I'm going to study drama and my parents are not getting involved, then I'm paying for it myself.
Yeah, I'm doing it myself. The island is here.
Guys, AFDA's kicking our parents' asses. My brother's there.
When kill you one man, kill you so one man standing, one man.
Shout out, dog.
It was difficult. It wasn't easy. I mean, I had a very difficult, but easy, contrary, but very difficult varsity experience because I stayed in Nigeria and we shot practicals. So, you know, you have to sleep over at a friend's house or crash on a couch. But because I have a big personality, I didn't see it as like in Klupe, I'm like, you know, sleeping and no, we had great day, baby. By the time we get home, it's class time or we had kitcheners. So
also, you have to make it work because you have a bursary that you can't actually fumble. You've fumbled WITS, which was its own thing. Now you've worked hard to get a bursary, so you have to make AFDA work. You have to make it work. Because if then you would have fumbled 2 degrees.
Yeah. I was just going through it. I'm just like on this autopilot thing.
It's just like you don't even know how you got to honors.
I don't even know how I got here today.
Really?
Yeah, that's the scary part of being from where I'm from.
Yeah.
Northwest is that I'm the only person that made it out. I look around and I'm like, how did I get to where I am today?
Tiny village.
In my tiny little village where people carry water on their head and some don't even have electricity. Why am I the chosen one? And what no one told me is the terms and conditions of being the chosen one. It's not easy. So I'm like, well, we're here now. Got to do what I got to do.
So then you graduate university.
I didn't even make it for my graduation.
You've got your honors. Really? Why? What happened? Were you at Great Dane?
No, I think the Great Dane saga lasted for like a year. And then we just elevated. We learned nicer places. We went to different places. The Great Dane era ended after Jesus. I remember because that's what they used to play all the time. Gang, 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 gang. Black Skin Head was like the track. Yes. We knew when that was playing, people were taking free shots. When did it end? What year are we in now? 2023?
2023.
Where's the Ethiopian calendar? Let's talk about that, but we'll get there. We'll get there because this calendar is not where we are. Let's talk the truth. This is not the calendar, Mantsoe. This can't be happening. Where's the power up, Mantsoe? In 2023, Arnam Tlakasi. No, Marala Ekaya is lights, a podcast, Moments with Mantsoe. We have cameras, trees, things. You see, so we are fine here. But other places are skis, guys. 12 hours, stage 16, etc. I think that the Great Dane thing, it ended quick.
Yeah.
Nothing actually lasts for long in my life. I've learned to accept.
That's so hectic. Do you find that not influences, but that makes it hard to celebrate certain things because you know that it doesn't last? And where does that come from? Like, why do you feel like things don't last long in my life?
So how I was raised is that, you know, or exactly. So even small accomplishments you don't celebrate for long because you know that on to the next one. Okay, sharp. Even now, if I celebrate this milestone, where's the next job coming from? Where am I going? What's going to happen? So it's always like survival mechanism. Like, you know, the technique is always there to be like, okay, sharp, what are we doing?
Then you get your audition for The River, even though you've done other things in between, right? But the biggest one, where everyone is just like, who the hell is this girl?
I didn't audition for The River.
How did it come about?
Jesus. Guys. Yes, just be an accountant. Go to school. Go to school. So I had a 2 years where I was blacklisted from the industry.
Really?
Yeah.
At like what, 22, 23?
Yeah. So
And they were like
abarati because influencer baba exploit them. So now exploit kabua kiri translation costs, fees for rehearsal fees. So those are things that they don't like. So at a young age, when you start asking questions, they're like, no, she knows too much.
Being blackballed and in your early 20s is wild because then you were kind of being stopped before you really took off.
Yes. That's when I went back to do my honors. I wasn't going to do my honors. I was just going to carry on working. But then I went back to do my honors because I wasn't working.
How did you know that you were being blackballed?
I got told. And also, I once went to an audition. The bird is singing.
Sing on, darling.
I went to this audition. I'm with this casting director, right? So everything was great. I auditioned. I killed it. And then after the audition, I can't remember. It took a while. Then this guy walked me to my car. Like usual, casual conversation. I was like, oh, nice guy, whatever the case is. And then like a few days later, he messages me, we should do lunch. I'm like, no. How? 3 weeks or so, I see him at Sixes with another girl that was at the same audition doing lunch. 2 months later, the movie drops. That girl got the role. She did lunch, darling. She did.
And you know that lunch is long.
Honey, if I'm gonna lay on my back, at least I need to enjoy it. Because we don't have sex for money, we fuck for fun. I'm just saying. Tell me how I got jela mahala. And also enjoy him.
So you think because you didn't want to audition on the couch?
No, Chomi, and you know what? If you wanted sex, you could have asked for sex. That's fine.
And he probably would have gotten it.
No, Chomi, his dick print whack. He got a wick dick print and a dick print. And a dick print. And a dick printed that guy.
So then you find out that no one's gonna cast you because you're worth too much.
For different reasons. Different people, different reasons. Sometimes you're overqualified. Sometimes they can't afford you. Different reasons. But like a door just closed where it's like, okay, sharp. My season right now requires me to go do inside work.
Yeah.
It requires me to go restructure. It requires me to build boundaries. It requires me to say, Galaletsang, this is your price and this is why. It requires me to say, Gala, this is no and this is why. Because what is the contingency plan after saying yes? You know, so I had to sit back and say, okay, cool, let's go restructure. Let's go to school. Go do something else. But I don't believe in gatekeepers because trust me, your mommy ain't the only person that got a shop, baby.
True.
True. So how about the chicken wings? Can already ribs and shoppers eating the chicken wings at the same time. So you ain't the only person who got a shop, you know. So yeah, I left for a year to do my masters, my honors actually, and then I wanted to do my masters. And before that, I got the call for the river.
Tell me about the day you got the call for the river. How that felt. And who was the first person you called to be like, bitch?
I need a joint.
Do we have a joint here somewhere?
Yeah, I need and I'll say this. I'm gonna go smoke and come back. Firstly, you know, as I told you, this is the first podcast I've ever done, and this is something I've never spoken about.
Yeah,
I didn't do my first audition because I was locked up in a room for 2 weeks, being beat up. So I was in a very abusive relationship, and I promise you, when the call came in, he said, "You're not going to go work because who do you think you are? You're going to go be famous and leave me here." So eventually, the day I decided to leave was after he had told the whole production at the river, including the makeup artist. She made a joke about this the one time. She's like, "Yo, Joe, remember the day I showed up at the river with bum shots and a bra because I had no clothes to wear." And I was just like, and everyone thought I was on drugs. It was so funny. But I showed up and I was like, guys, you can test me, test my system. I'm just telling you guys that I ain't got nowhere to stay and I'm going through a lot, but I need a job. So what y'all gotta say?
So wait, I need you to have, I need you to go have your joints so that you can
come back. I've never told the story. And every year when women are telling their story, I'm always like, should I say something? Are people gonna think I'm here for attention? Or am I going to be helping someone talk about it? And, you know, Titi was asking me, he's like, you don't do podcasts, but you're going to go talk to Mantsoe. And I was like, Mantsoe is my friend. We're going to sit down and talk like friends. You know, so if it's going to
You've never even told me, even outside of all these cameras.
I know, and you know, it's so funny because when it happened, I went straight to Sheikh and Blessing because the cops dropped me off at Mill Park from Monday police station after I got my restraining order. So, yeah, it was crazy. It was so crazy. This guy cleared out my bank accounts, beat me up to a pulp, waterboarded me. It was crazy to me. It was wild. I was in the streets of Meredale screaming Vimba, and no one helped me, and I was naked at 6 o'clock in the morning. No one helped me. Like, imagine how much traffic is happening at 6 o'clock in the morning. South Africa. Everybody was just like, oh, well, there she goes. But then we carried on like nothing happened. So that's why I said, like, it's in that 15 minutes of meditation whereby when you move from going through this, for whether it's, because the abuse started probably like 2-3 years into the relationship. We're together for 5 years. And you keep quiet for 3 years. You don't say anything. You go through it. And then one day, you take that shot of tequila you knew you shouldn't have taken. And no one is going to be like, she's not okay. They're going to be like, no, she's just acting out. But loyally one, it's like if ugatlapelo to a point whereby somebody does not sit back and say, what's wrong with her? They'll be like, no, she's just crazy. Or why doesn't she just go see I've been seeing a therapist since I was 17, 16. It hasn't helped. I've tried. The truth is you don't heal. You just learn how to live with the pain. Because even if somebody comes and you have to constantly remind yourself that not everybody wants to hurt me or So when that call came in for the river, girl, I wasn't available. I was Tina-ing it out. R.I.P. Mama, rock star. What am I going to say? What must I say?
The biggest moment of your career was marred by abuse.
Yeah.
Like the one moment where you were supposed to be like, let's go have shots. I got this role. Was marred with someone. And I think we don't talk about jealous partners enough, right?
Yeah.
With someone that saw that this is about to be something for this girl. And this is someone that's supposed to be loving on you.
Yes.
And they, in that moment that was so pivotal in your career, took it away from you.
I don't want to demonize him. I don't want to demonize him because I have brothers, right? And I have a problem with cancel culture because cancel culture disables the ability for any human to be rehabilitated.
Okay.
So if that happened, when it happened with him, upon all healing, it's not someone that I don't know if I'd be able to sit in a room with him or talk to him like this, but I'm doing the work. And I hope he does the work because I know the better version of him and I know his traumas. And he didn't have the vocabulary to express himself and he resorted to violence, because that's what I believe freedom is. Freedom is having the vocabulary to express how you're feeling.
Without harming the next person.
Without harming the next person, So when you don't have that vocabulary, you resort to other ways of trying to express yourself, So yeah, I just think that in that moment, I took a step back and I was on survival mode. It was, how do I get to Remsig to do this audition? Okay, it's been 2 weeks. They keep calling. My phone is being hung up. He's holding my phone, so I can't get to my phone. Then I went to Grahamstown Film Festival. When I came back, he cleared out my fully finished 2-bedroom apartment. Yeah. And he's like, oh, let's go live with my mom. I'm like, I'm going to go live with your mama. Hold up. So
I left my family in the Northwest. This is my apartment. Why am I going to your parents' house?
So I said to him, what, let's go live with my mama. So we went to go live with my mom and it just got worse. Like I got to a point where he started hitting me in front of my mom and abusing me in front of my mom. Yeah. Like it was wild. But even in those moments, I think that, my relationship with my mom changed so much because she started seeing her parenting skills through the decisions I was making.
Or lack thereof.
Yeah, 100%. Or lack thereof, But do I say lack? Did she know? Did she know?
Because you only know what you know.
Did she know that by choosing the man she chose would mean that I would also choose a partner that would resemble the things that I had seen? Did she know? I don't know. Because my stepdaddy wasn't abusive. He was actually, my stepdad was the greatest man I have ever met until my parents divorced. Then it just got ugly. But that's between them. But to me, that man, I'll never forget in grade 7, I had my first period and I'm Ampepa on his back from Robertsham Primary to Tamara Muse. He was wearing a yellow shirt stained with my blood because my mom wasn't there to pick me up and we didn't have a car. Just so that we couldn't go, and he got me pads, whatever, bathed me and whatever. So he was very kind. And most of my milestones in life happened with him. So I can never take that away from him and the kind of human being he was.
It's their relationship that didn't work.
Yeah, it's them.
Yeah.
Because you can be a great father and a shitty husband. And that's what no one wants to talk about.
I don't know about that.
You can.
I don't know about that.
I can be a great friend and a shit girlfriend. Tell me how come phone la hona ba no wa a re gruba ke atla no. Wa re chomi ke stakile ke atla no. Mara ko ntlung a ba tlotsa next ke a lengisa ke.
No, that's what taba chomi tsa hao. Like I struggle to separate a horrible partner or to see someone be a horrible partner and think they're a perfect dad. I think your kids have.
Next guest is I love her. Watch the next episode. You're gonna love her.
Just come in and watch.
You're gonna love her. Watch the next episode. Trust me, and she's gorgeous. Okay,
the bathroom's there.
Yes.
Anyway, I struggle to see someone who's being a horrible partner as a great dad, because I feel like the full experience of a child being in a home like that is lived as this person seeing them be a good partner to my mom and being a great dad to me. I think a child lacks a full experience of a family if you are one and the other. That's just me. That's a conversation for another.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
I think
I can't see you be shit to my mom and be great to me and think, oh, great dad, shit partner. Then I'm not having a great experience of seeing a couple that's healthy.
But that's a different division. That will have to do with your romantic life.
Yeah.
You understand? That won't have to do with how... Because, for example, you can decide to have kids without deciding to have a partner. Should it be IVF or whatever. So now choosing the father of your children has nothing to do with choosing the partner for you in that case. Yeah. You understand? Hence why I say that's a different division altogether.
But I think all of it should be one thing.
I mean, if you guys are encompassed as a family and you're in love, by all means. You know, but unfortunately, it doesn't always come as a package deal. So then how do you heal as a human being? How do you find solutions? Because so much so we want to point out the problems. You understand? That's why I say to you, cancel culture disables the ability for any human being to be rehabilitated. Because if you're going to cancel him because he's a shitty husband, but he's a great dad, did somebody teach him how to be a husband? Maybe somebody taught him how to be a dad because his dad was great.
But maybe someone didn't teach him how to be a great dad and he chose to just be a great person to this little kid.
Because,
Also, because don't forget, people have a different relationship with their kids than they do with their partners.
100%.
These kids, you see them and they just, I mean, for some people, they mean the world to you. You see them, yes, there's this love that parents always talk about. But your partner is the person that you also chose. And there has to be some level of love that comes with respect. That makes you want to make their world better. And if you can't then love your partner the right way, I don't see how you can love your child the right way, because you are robbing them of seeing a healthy home. And even though you're not saying, I'm going to be a shit dad because I'm a shit partner, but the experience that the child has with you not being a great partner, I think adds to then you just not being a great person. That's it, period. You can be separated as parents. My parents were separated at a very young age. I never heard my mom speak ugly of my dad. My mom had my stepdad, and he was an amazing man as well. But I never heard my mom speak ugly of my biological dad. I never heard my biological dad speak ugly or ill of my mom. But I understood as I grew that these two, there was a point where they were young, they loved each other. At 22, they had me, but they just couldn't be together. I've never had an opportunity to see both of them ugly to each other. Then I can easily say, he was a great dad and maybe not the greatest partner, but I don't know what happened to them personally, right? But if I was in the same home with my mom and my dad, and I saw my dad be ugly to my mom, but gave me everything I wanted as a kid, that's not a good person. Because then you're giving me a really warped reality of what family and healthy relationships look like, but you still love me and you take me to Mickey D's. So it's not, you can't separate the two. That's just me. And it's an argument we can have.
I hear you 100%.
So we can have this chat some more.
I think so.
Go have your joint. I think go have your joint.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'll just close by saying, before I go have my joint, and then we come back and then we do the second half, and then the next guest, because she's amazing. There is no manual, and we forget that.
That's true.
There's no troubleshoot button. Everything you're doing for the first time as the version that you are then and there.
Yeah.
A man does not enter the same river twice.
Yeah.
Because now you know the temperature of the water. So you know what to prepare for. You know. So once somebody knows and they're exposed to something, it's different. Then you understand. So I think a lot of things I thought I knew, the older I'm becoming, I realize I don't know.
That's true.
So I don't have a lot of answers. I'm only here to talk to you. And hope that we can all talk at home.
Yeah, and have a conversation.
So like, comment, subscribe. Part 2 coming back after the edit. I'm definitely...
When we come back. This is Moments with Mantsoe. I'm hanging out with Galaletsang Gina, darling.
Hello, babe.
Koffman.
Go, Gina.
Where does the Gina name come from, friend?
Georgina is my grandmother's mother, my great-grandmother.
Oh, wow.
So my grandmother's dying now. It's so crazy.
Oh.
So she always used to call me Gina, and she calls me Gina. And I've had, like I said previously, I live in
Stages.
Yes. So Nyana happened, Precious happened, Galaletsang happened in my 20s. So dedicating Gina to my 30s is going to be very interesting.
How's that experience of feeling like you're seeing your grandmother's last moments?
I mean, it happening in my 30s and calling myself Gina and stepping into that, like, we definitely closer, because when she calls me Gina, it's kind of like other people call me Gina now too. So it's kind of like our own little goodbye, because, she's also forgetting things.
Are you therapizing yourself through it? Like you're getting to know?
Yes.
Oh,
yes. Now I'm with you.
yes.
Okay.
So you feel like this is the moment where you therapize yourself with your grand's last journey, I guess.
Yeah, self-therapized. Yeah.
Let's talk about Gina, the farmer. Because I mentioned earlier when you were saying that you even decided to move far. I remember when you were leaving and I was just like, why would you leave and go so far? Because you, at the very end of Johannesburg, you've decided to go live on a plot with animals. I love that. I love that so much. No, I love that. I aspire for a life like that.
You like dogs?
Yes, I love dogs. I grew up with dogs.
How many dogs did you have?
I had Twinkie and Punky, so my own two.
Oh, Punky, that's a cute name.
Yeah.
Like Punky. Why Punky? What is
It's so funny because my friends growing up used to say I'm like a punk. I loved pop.
I can see that.
I love pop and rock and punk music.
Favorite band?
All of that. Oh, I loved a lot of bands. I loved Tweak. There was a time. Linkin Park is obviously like GOT for me.
Kings of Leon, U2. Maybe that's how I see you.
That was me. I used to wear cut up gloves, okay?
I also had that station.
Cut up gloves, chains, big sneakers. I was that guy. So
What was your mixed name?
my mixed name was Funky Punk, I think.
That's why. That's what happened. I'm like,
So Punky was one of my dogs. Twinkie was one of my dogs. Also, it was Twinkie because, oh, shame, a boy that like I was like seeing when I was a kid. His nickname was Twinkie. I hope he doesn't see this.
I hope he sees it.
But I was so besotted with him. Okay. So my other dog then was Twinkie. So it was Twinkie and Punky. But my gran always had dogs. We've always had dogs at home. Okay. My gran had big dogs and they had Tswana names.
That's nice. I love that.
Yeah, I just remember one of them was Tinini. But they had Tswana names. And then recently, my grand's dog, Shame, that died, that was like everyone's favorite dog. It was a Cocker Spaniel.
Oh, wow.
His name was
Y'all had
Teddy.
expensive dogs.
I know, my grand's a dog guy, okay? My grand's dog used to get mobile grooming. They'd come home, and come clean him up, Teddy.
Oh, I love that.
He was just the love of everyone's life. So I know that the thing of loving animals and being around animals, I've always been around animals. There's dogs all the time in my life. But you then moved to a farm where you've got all these things. How's that life been like? And why the conscious decision also to...
I'll die in Joburg.
To leave the hustle and bustle and the great
I'll die
days.
in the city, man. So y'all gonna kill me here. Y'all crazy.
You so far, you travel very far to shoot. Why did you move there?
I mean... I don't know, for peace. For peace. For the phone call that never comes in to say, hey, I'm in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's true.
For the, hey, let's go to this place and that place on a random Tuesday. When you just feel like
needing
listening.
to be there all the time in the soup.
And the thing is, I'm a giver. And sometimes I don't know, most times I don't know how to say no because I want to see people happy. So sometimes it comes at the expense of myself. And when I was in the city, I gave more than I do as compared to like living on the farm. So the farm gives me peace.
How's that been like? You kind of back to your roots on your own terms.
Yes, definitely, because I definitely, like Magapanstad to compared to where we reside now is similar in the sense of the land, the infrastructure, you know, the agriculture, the gardening. I love that. Flowers. Seeing flowers makes me happy. The bees make me happy.
You have bees.
Yes.
You have bees. She's a beekeeper.
Stop that.
You are actually so hectic. You have bees.
Hello, hi Mantsoe. Yes, I have bees. Sorry.
What else do you want on that farm? What do you?
Oh, I
what are
want
you
an
here to
elephant.
get?
Everyone is like, I'm crazy.
No, please don't do that.
Jimmy, let me tell you. No.
It's not a
Okay.
domesticated animal. Please don't do that.
I don't like this conversation.
No, don't do that. I love elephants.
I won't domesticate it, Jimmy. We'll live together with the elephant.
No.
You guys think it'll just rock you guys? Why are you afraid of the elephant?
No, friend. It's for the elephant's good to not be in your yard. It's not a pet.
It's not a pet. It can come and go as it pleases. I just hope other people are also nice to me.
Domesticated animals that you want on your farm.
You know, my neighbor had a tiger that ran away. Just
That
saying.
is so hectic.
Why?
The tiger that ran away in your area. I remember. I just can't say which area, but think about all the tigers. Google. One of the tigers that ran away was her neighbor. Friend.
Yes.
Hectic.
You know, like some of my neighbors have signs that say beware of the lion, not the dog. Yeah. So I really think like an elephant is not a big ask. And it's like, it's cute. It's nice to everyone. And they're emotionally intelligent. They cry and stuff, you know. Just saying.
They cry because they're domesticated. They shouldn't be and they're abused.
No, not when we abuse them. Like they cry. When another elephant dies, they cry. Like they talk
No,
to each
absolutely, but they'll also cry if they're in the space.
other. Okay, then I must go live with the elephant. It's fine. Doesn't have to come to my yard.
coexisting of you and elephants
I
will
want to
happen.
coexist with the elephants. Maybe a young tree house there in the Kruger. I don't know. It would be nice. Go further away even.
What are some of the, and I imagine when you see people, a lot of people that act will say this, right? When people see you, they'll say, beauty, beauty. And it's like, I've been to a wedding with you where everyone was like, beauty. Denise's wedding.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you really loved and adored about your character?
Yeah. Beauty. She taught me a lot about women.
The sterilizer.
She creeps in even when I'm like, I thought we're done. And now like the end is near and I'm so like, okay, because the show is coming to an end. So it's kind of like I'm letting go, you know, and I'm coming back to myself. And it's beautiful because I've been this person for like the past 6 years and I forgot who I was.
It's been 6 years.
And Jim, I don't even have a favorite color. It's so crazy. Because I work Monday to Saturday and we're only free for 3 weeks in a year. There's the December break. And if you're lucky and you shoot in advance, then maybe you might get Easter. But yeah, it's crazy hours.
So it's like sad to let go of her, but it's what more is out there for me.
She taught me not to judge. She taught me not to judge. And she taught me to be bold, to speak up. Because she speaks up. I think when I got the character, I was like, oh my gosh, she's so loud, she's so bold. And I was like, you know what, I can be that. Let me see how it would feel to be that. Because if I think that I'm incapable of being that, that would then think I have a certain perception of that characteristic. So why do I feel so strongly towards her? What's bothering me? You know, so I was like, okay, let's go there.
What are you going to miss about her?
Freedom. Freedom. I think I'm an actor, so I don't have to be myself. Yeah, tough chat. But when I'm beauty, it's just like, yo, it's like ballet. It's like we are playing. And when they go, the 3, 2, 1.
She comes alive.
Yo, I think she comes alive the minute I get into the car. Not even like action, not even makeup. The minute I get picked up in the morning.
What I heard was that Beauty wasn't supposed to be a long character.
Yeah.
Beauty was supposed to just be hit and run, and then it stuck on.
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Because I'm talented.
Oh. Me.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm talented and I love what I do and I have fun.
And you
I'm
play
a
really
great
well.
support. And I'm a great support, you know. So it's important to understand what you're there to do. So because I understood the job and the job description, I was able to do it without feeling like it was labor. And when leads needed to tell stories, I was there to anchor the storylines and know exactly what to do. You know, which is a different art altogether in performance.
I know that because as a co-host for many years on the radio, you have to know how to support the person that's leading.
Right, exactly.
And a lot of people, viewers or listeners, will be like, oh, I want to hear more of this person.
Yeah.
And you're like, the reason you love me is because I support so well that you want to hear more of what I have to say because I've done this so well.
How do you feel about that? I wanted to
About
ask.
what?
So we always have this notion when we speak about, I'd rather be the prince and not the king. Because the prince lives his whole life saying, I'm going to be king. And then one day he's king.
Yeah.
Like, look at Charles. He only started working now. And how old is he? How old is he? He only started working now. But this whole time, what was he doing? Like chilling, playing golf?
Do you know how I felt the whole time? I do believe that in as much as I was a great support to some people,
Yeah.
I was scared of taking the plunge. I had many opportunities at all the stations I worked at to be on my own, because I believe that my program managers would see that, oh my God, you don't see it, we see it, we love it, we think it's time now that you come to the fourth, right? And I think, and I can be honest with this, a huge chunk of it was fear. Starting this podcast was a moment that was filled with fear.
I couldn't wait for you to start this podcast.
But how long have I been talking about starting it? For years,
you've
right?
been talking about
but
it,
I think the biggest thing that I struggle with is fear of starting.
Yeah.
I have a huge, I don't even know, it's a self-esteem thing. But I know that I'm really good at what I do. But I think that scares me. But I can't articulate it, right? And I'll always just
It's
be
in
like,
the
no,
mirror.
it's fine. I play really well as support. I'm happy to just come in and out instead of being the moment. But I mean, I'm the moment now, so, you know.
I love that for you.
But a big chunk of it is really
and
being
you
scared.
deserve your flowers,
Yeah,
Mantsoe.
thank
You
you,
deserve them. You deserve them. This is your moment.
It is.
Yeah, and you must take it in. And we love being here with you.
I loved having you here.
I had fun. We spoke about a lot.
Yeah.
We spoke about
And
a
you
lot.
and you got a joint while you were here, so even better.
I did. I smoked. It was amazing. I feel weed plays such a pivotal role in my life. Yeah.
How?
Healing. Think of it like sage or lavender or parsley, whatever it is that you take.
That's like food.
I don't, just food?
Yeah.
Think
And
of it
a
as
tequila,
tequila.
you know.
Gotcha, I knew it. Think of it as tequila.
I love my tequila.
Of the agave plant.
Yes. I'm just like, where is the tequila? But out of everything that we've chatted about, and I definitely know that we could have a longer conversation about this, what are some of the things that you look at now and you're like, I did that?
I think the recent film that I did.
Yes.
Yes.
Can?
And today I found out that Toronto, we got nominated for Toronto. So
You were also at the Cannes Festival.
yeah,
of the
we won
film.
the Cannes.
Yes.
And then we did Biff, I think.
Yeah.
Or we doing it. I don't know. I've also been working.
Yeah, you've done Biff.
And then the exec told me today that we just got into Tribeca, so that's interesting.
The Toronto Film Festival. That's so dope.
Right?
What more can we expect from you?
Peace. Please pray for it. I don't know if you
Yeah.
can expect it because I can't tell you. I'm not promising anything. But you can definitely expect a human experience.
And love?
And love. Everything with love. Everything with love, with passion, with purpose. Yeah.
And intention. That's how you lead.
Oh,
Yeah.
intention. No? See, that's very scary because when we do character work, actually in acting, the primary source of making a decision when you transcribing the script into vernac, let's say the line says, I love you. So then you'd have to come up with an intention for your character as to why they're saying I love you. Is it to manipulate you? Is it because they want something from you? Is it because they want to express? So what is the intention? So when you say intention, I'm like, my perspective be like, girl, that's very broad. But I love you.
I love you. and 10-year-old Khala in Makapanstad is growing up with her gran and her auntie, and who saw her gran at her healthiest,
Her prime.
at prime, right? 30 years living with this woman. What would you say to 10-year-old Khala? To Nyana?
There's more to talk about. I know you might want to ask now, but we'll talk. She can call me 10 years after that. And if she has questions, then she must call me 10 years after that. Because I had questions and I didn't know, and now I'm here and I still don't know. So I'll wait my 10 years. I can ask.
Thank you so much for coming.
With love.
Galaletsang Nyana, Gina, Koffman, Makapanstad's finest.
That's not funny. There's a Facebook group. Really? I deleted Facebook because I was like, what the hell? What's going on? I can't tell.
Makapanstad's finest. Please like, subscribe, follow her on social media. It's Gina the Great. Absolutely loved having you.
I must actually change it to Gina the Great because it's not
Is it
Gina
not
the
Gina
Guest.
the Great?
No, that'll be the next one. I
It's
love
Gina
it.
the
No,
Guest.
I'm keeping that. Mantsoe.
Gina the Great.
Yeah, from the guest to the great. Now I'm
Your
like
next
arrogance,
phase.
arrogant. Eh?
No, it's sure.
No, but you know what it is? Arrogance is overestimating your own worth. Confidence is knowing it. So I guess it's Gina the Great.
Gina the Great it is. This is Moments with Mantsoe. We had a great time.
See, great. See what she did?
Listen, like, subscribe, do all the things that need to be done. Tell me what you thought of the episode. And if you've got someone that you think I need to sit down and have a moment with, leave them down here. My name is Mantsoe Pout, and this has been absolutely amazing. This is Moments with Mantsoe.